Hi again then guys, and welcome to another tune setup for the 1.32 selection of cars, this time moving on to the Ferrari Dino, a car which is much more expensive than it used to be in Gran Turismo 6, and as you saw from the title and from the thumbnail, this is one of our classic money-earning method vehicles, because of course you can use this as a track car if you want to, but it's always nice to know that the car can easily pay for itself within 2 or 3 races. So for those who are unaware of what I'm talking about, click the first link down below in the description and it will tell you everything you need to know about the race that I'm referring to. It's still the most successful video I've ever produced, which is pretty cool. I didn't expect that to be the case, but as far as this tune goes, it very interestingly joins the ranks of stuff like the KTM and the GT40 and a couple of others where it can win on Blue Moon Bay in N300. Now I will warn you, if you're a seasoned pro on this track, and you've done it like 400 times or whatever, like many of us have, you don't need this car. You're already more than good enough with the GT40, so you don't even need to use it, unless you want to try something different. If, however, you want to use a Ferrari specifically, or you just love the Dino, this is the tune for you, because it will earn you 375,000 credits per race, and the race itself takes 12 minutes, so you do that 5 times an hour, you've got quite a lot of cash, the best part of 2 million credits. Now as far as the upgrades go, you want to drop the weight as far as it can go, of course increase the power, in this case actually as high as it can go, it's right on the cusp of N300. Traction control, of course that's down to you, I would recommend having it off, because you will be quicker through the corners. Racing super softs on the back, but hards on the front, because this is one of those classics which is a little bit flighty. It has a tendency to oversteer, so that's the easy way to counteract that. As far as the suspension, I'd recommend 100mm on the ride height, then the frequency as high as it can go, with 3 on anti-roll on the front and the back, the compression and the rebound as low as they can go. I've opted for neutral camber. I initially ran it with 1 degree on the front and the back. It just felt unnecessary. If you find it to be too unstable, which I don't think many people will, then by all means try that again, but you don't really need it. We've got neutral toe as well. As far as downforce, of course, that doesn't apply. As far as the diff, I would recommend 30 and 30 for initial torque and acceleration, and then 60 as you can see for braking. A little bit of a different setup there, and again, you can certainly change that around, see what works better for you, or if you already know one that works better for you. And then finally for the transmission, I've got the fully customized, then with a max speed setting of 162 and individual gears of 2.7, 1.9, 1475, 1175 and 875 with a final drive of 3.625. And that allows you to have a top speed in the region of about 176, 177, that kind of territory, which for a car with 340 horsepower on Blue Moon Bay, that's pretty good. It's certainly more than quick enough to win, and through the corners it's much quicker than stuff like the Enzo and the McLaren F1 that you'll be up against, and of course that's what allows you to catch them. But what you want to see is proving what this car can do. Can it actually win the race, and if so, by how much? Well, the simple answer is of course it can win the race, because I wouldn't be doing a tune setup for it otherwise, but I will say, as I mentioned early on in this video, this is not the best option for earning money. The Ford GT40 is a much easier one, the Mazda RX 500 is also a very good one, even the KTM I know some people still like to use and is one of the cheapest options to do it. So there are definitely better options out there in terms of value for money and also in terms of how quick it is, because with this tune, using this car, you're going to be running about 48-second laps. So you can win, for sure, but you might want to avoid the LaFerrari. Whereas with the GT40, you don't need to. You can beat the LaFerrari by like 5 to 10 seconds easily. Whereas with this one, you might struggle a bit more. Now as far as how it performs, this is one of the only tunes I've ever done where I would actually recommend being careful on the second corner, the one that's actually more of a shallow corner. Because usually that corner's easy with any car, but with this one it has a tendency to try and oversteer into the bottom of the corner, so you need to be careful of that one. The other 2 corners it's absolutely fine, just ease onto the brakes, allow the car to coast into the corner, then ease onto the throttle as you go through it, and you'll find that the natural heaviness of the steering that the tyres give you allows you to actually go through the corners at really high speed. And ultimately you can see the kind of margins that you can win the race by, even against stuff like Veyrons, Venenos, Enzos, McLaren F1s, so anything but the LaFerrari, you can win, for sure. So if you do decide to use this, Just like all of my other Blue Moon Bay tunes, you can earn a ton of cash with it, and if you haven't checked out my others, and maybe fancy an even quicker one, then click here on screen to see those. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.